Hello, everyone. Today I want to talk to you guys about what I think is a realistic, practical solution to this war between Israel and the Palestinians. There's absolutely no way, as far as I can tell, that these two groups of people are ever going to be able to live next to each other. Okay, and if they do try to live next to each other, they're gonna keep fighting until one side completely kills off the other side. Okay, I mean that's just reality, and you know, we can all kind of see which side is probably going to win that fight. Okay, so yeah, when you have two people living next to each other that absolutely hate each other to that extent, okay, and this hatred has been building up now, for many decades. There's never ever going to be any peace until either one side completely kills the other side, or until one side moves out of the area. Okay, and the side that's not going to move out of the area is Israel. Okay, it's just not going to happen. So it makes the most practical sense to move the Palestinians out, because for one thing, they really don't even have any houses left there because they've been destroyed. Okay, now you might say, hey, the Israelis did that on purpose so they can get them to move out. Well, yeah, probably, and looks like they won that bet. Okay, but yeah, the Palestinians do not have any houses, so it makes sense to, since they don't have any houses, to just move them out. Now, where would you move them out? Israel just had a war with Iran. Iran is the loser, so it would make sense to force Iran to accept them. Okay, aside from the fact that they just lost that war with Israel, right? So there's consequences to losing wars. The Iranian regime over there, the Ayatollahs and the mullahs, they're the ones that have been basically arming, supplying the Palestinians, Hamas, and sending them off into these suicide missions to continually fight the Israelis. So the Iranians basically cultivated this problem with Palestine. So it kind of makes sense that they should be forced to now accept them. Okay, and I say forced to accept them because realistically, Iran is really no longer a regional power. I mean, Israel already proved that they can pretty much fly their airplanes in figure eights over Tehran, and Iran can't do anything about it. And that's just Israel fighting by itself. If let's say the U.S. military was also aiding them, I mean, they would be that much weaker. And I'm not saying that the U.S. should become part of this war, right? Again, I'm looking for a permanent solution that allows the Palestinians to live, okay? Because if they stay where they are, they're gonna die, all right? They're all gonna be exterminated. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Whether that's right, wrong, not fair, etc., is irrelevant because that's what's gonna happen. If they stay where they are, they're going to be exterminated. What's gonna happen is because you've had like this decades of hatred that have been building up. Even if there is some type of a temporary peace, the people that live there, the kids that are growing up, they hate Israelis. They're basically going to grow up with this mindset that they want to go kill Israelis. They're willing to die killing Israelis. And essentially you've got the next generation of suicidal fighters. Okay, so by keeping them there, they're going to all die, either because they suicide themselves fighting against the Israelis, or because the Israelis try to preemptively stop that by, again, exterminating them, right? If the Palestinians stay where they are, they're going to cease to exist as a people, okay? So for the sake of not having them exterminated, it makes a lot more sense to move them somewhere else. It makes sense to move them to Iran, or to force Iran to accept them, because number one, they just lost the war. So again, there's consequences to losing wars, and number two, they're the ones that really instigated this whole problem, right? They've been they've been the ones that have been funding Hamas and Hezbollah and the Houthis. So it kind of makes sense that, hey, since they created the problem, they should be forced to be part of the solution. Okay, yeah, obviously they're not gonna like it, but hey, you know what? I mean, that's too bad. You lost the war, right? You lose a war, you're not gonna like the consequences. So they took a bet, right? The bet that they took was that they were going to be able to arm the Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis, and they were going to be able to arm them and get them to destabilize Israel. It was a plan that I think had a chance of succeeding. Okay, but they failed. Their plan failed, and they lost. Right, their proxies lost, and in fact, Israel went beyond the proxies and basically attacked the person that was supplying them and funding them directly. Okay, and given that it's like when this whole thing started back when it started, that October 7th, one of the things that I said, I probably said it in the video too, but I definitely said it to myself, is, you know what, this is never going to stop unless the source is stopped. And I never thought that Israel, with the backing of the United States, right? Because that's what it is. Let's call it what it is. I never thought that Israel, with the backing of the United States, would actually go all the way back to the source and basically demolish them. Okay, and I think that the only reason why they haven't completely demolished them is because the United States told them not to. The United States actually wants to keep Iran as whatever is left of them, because if Iran is completely destroyed, completely removed from the table, right? Now, I mean, what do you do with Saudi Arabia and Egypt, right? Because right now, Saudi Arabia and Egypt are realistically, they're allies of Israel, right, against Iran, okay? Because Iran has always been seen as a threat to Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. So even though they don't say it on paper, the three of them have realistically been allied. If they weren't allied, what would have happened is Saudi Arabia and Egypt would have basically jumped in on the side of Iran. They didn't, right? They've been very quiet. They might have said something, but just for the sake of saying something. But realistically, they were hoping that Israel would completely destroy their enemy, Iran. And I think that the United States is preventing Israel from completely destroying Iran, because if you remove them, because here's the thing, I mean, these are combative people. They're always going to look for somebody to fight with. If you remove Iran as the bad guy, then Egypt and Saudi Arabia and Israel are going to start looking at each other to start a fight, okay? So I think that's the reason why the United States definitely wants to keep Iran there as a power, because it keeps Egypt, Israel, and Saudi Arabia in check, right? Because if they don't play nice with the United States, Iran might go get them, right? Or the United States might get out of the way and allow Iran to attack them. Even though, again, they've been weakened to such a point right now where they're not a threat. I'm pretty sure that the United States is going to allow Iran to rebuild itself back up, because they want to maintain that threat level, right? They want Iran to be in that area as a threat, because that's how they control, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Okay, they want that threat to be there. But anyway, as far as the Palestinians, what's in the best interest of the Palestinians? Okay, is it for them to keep fighting this battle that they're never going to win, and that's going to ultimately just get them completely exterminated, wiped off the face of the earth, so that they don't exist as a people? Is that in their best interest? Probably not. Okay, it's in their best interest for them to be moved someplace else, Iran in this case, where they can actually settle down. They can be given some money, right? I mean, I'm sure Israel would happily give them some money just to get them out of that area and give them some money to build their houses somewhere else in Iran. Um, get them out of that area, get them far enough away from Israel so that the next generation basically sees Israel as being too far away to, like, to drive over there and start a fight, right, and be a suicide bomber or something like that. You want to get them far enough away that that's less likely to happen, that's not the mindset that they grow up with. And, you want them to move somewhere where they can start thinking about, raising their families, not to be, suicidal fighters. Okay. So anyway, that's my thoughts on that. The only solution that I think can possibly work, right, is that the Palestinians are moved to Iran, right? Iran is forced to accept them, and they're settled there, and they're far enough away from Israel where they're not a threat to Israel, and Israel is not going to try and exterminate them. That's their only chance of survival. If they stay where they are, they're going to be exterminated, right? I mean, that's what's going to happen, okay? It might take another decade, whatever, there's no peace deal that's ever going to work as long as you got the Palestinians and the Israelites living that close to each other, okay? It's just never going to work. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this. If you got any different ideas, let me know. But again, I'm looking at this from the perspective of what's best for those Palestinians. There's no circumstances where they stay in that area and they continue to, and they basically grow and prosper, okay? They need to go somewhere else, far away from that war zone. So drop some comments, let me know what you guys think, and I'll talk to you all soon.